Hey there friends, family, rats of all ages. Welcome back to my channel. If you're just joining us, I'm building Mario bricks so I can vicariously live through my cats as they play Mario in real life. Last week we ended with an unpainted brick, and this week we'll be building a 3-unit structure. Let's get started! Welcome back to the blueprint. We're essentially building the exact same thing from last week. If you weren't here last week and you want to learn how to build a single brick, I highly suggest you go check out that video. For this week's build, there are 3 noticeable differences. Number 1, as you can see here, it's not a square. Number 2, there's a hole on top so the cats can actually go inside and hang out. Number 3, there's plexiglass in the front so that if my cats are inside, I can at least know they're in there. And that's the blueprint. If you weren't here last week, I'm in New York because I don't have any knowledge about carpentry. I like to warn you that this project is not at all serious. It's literally for cats. So while I'm using my well-deserved time off, I'd like to bring you along for the entire process. What I've noticed on YouTube is a lot of content creators make week-long projects a 10-minute recap or montage. And I'm trying to avoid that for this video because these things actually tend to take a really long time. I'm doing this for fun as well, so I don't want to add any extra stress of a deadline. I'm not home usually very often or for a long time, so I try to spend my mornings outside before I have to go back into the basement. It's not necessarily a bad thing, I just tend to lose track of time. I realized that I never actually record myself doing anything, and it's usually me recording my dad. So it looks like I don't actually contribute to this project, but I can assure you that I did a lot off camera. My dad did do the majority, and I was mainly there to listen and learn how not to accidentally cut off a limb. You can see here that we're building the frame and cutting the hole where the plexiglass will sit on top of the front panel. We had to sand all the pieces of the box because the cats would be able to access both the interior and exterior of the brick. Just like last time, we're going to assemble the box in the same fashion, making sure that the back panel sits slightly inward so that we can add a cleat and it can hang nicely on the wall. If there's one lesson I will never forget during this build, it's putty is my buddy. Not only did we have to cover all the staples, we also made so many mistakes during the build, and we ended up using so much putty. This process did take some time, so it was nice to take a break and celebrate my grandma's birthday and eat lots of desserts. Every time I emerge from the basement, there's Loki, ready for me to throw the ball. We don't end up gluing the top panel on until the very end, and most of the time you'll just see it resting on top of the box. Here I'm making a hole at the top where the cats can enter and exit. In the end, this does not turn out very circular, but that's okay, it's for cats. Again, we do a lot of sanding and cleaning. Then we waste a lot of time spray painting part of the box. This will eventually be painted over. The idea was to have a bright yellow interior. Oh well, you live and you learn. Then comes my favorite part. We got to add the design. This time the router gave us a lot of trouble, so we ended up making the lines bigger and bigger and bigger. But will my cats notice? No. A fun bonus is I asked my dad to include a method of adding lights for the future. You'll see us adding holes to either side as a method to feed the wires through. I don't know where I'll be in the future, so I don't know where the nearest outlets will be. Then we glued and stapled the cleat onto the box. And this is how it ended up looking. I ended my night by eating some Ralph's and spending some time outside with Olaf and Loki. In the morning, I had my obligatory New York bagel and coffee, and then I headed back home to Florida. Hey there! Thanks for joining me on part 2 of my series on how to build Mario platforms for cats. I really enjoyed that I got to share this entire process with you so far, and I hope you consider joining us for part 3 on this series next week. Well, that's it for me. Rise up, folks! Bye!